You're watching Tag TV.
Indian security forces killed several terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan Supreme Court allows Hafiz Saeed to carry out charitable work. 17 years on post 9/11, Pakistan continues to nurture terrorism. And spate of terror continues in Afghanistan, scores more killed. The Indian security forces and the state police foiled several terrorist attacks that were meant to disturb peace in Jammu and Kashmir. We have a report.
This week, Indian security forces managed to spoil the party of Pakistan-backed terrorists who had infiltrated to India to spread terror. Encounters in Kupwara district of Kashmir saw the death of 2 militants who had been traced after security forces received information about their whereabouts in the Gularu area. The encounter started when the security forces started their routine cordon and search operation when they faced heavy firing, which led to the eventual death of the terrorists.
वो इंजर्ड है अभी क्योंकि काफ़ी घना जंगल है नीचे, तो उसमें हम अपने हिसाब से पूरे डेलिब्रेट तरीके से सर्च कर रहे हैं।
काफ़ी देर से फायर नहीं हुआ है तो लगता है कि
नहीं, ये टैक्टिक्स भी हो सकता है, ये दीज आर आर्मी मिलिट्री टैक्टिक्स, हम उसी हिसाब से चलते हैं।
ऑपरेशन अभी जारी है?
अभी जारी है जब तक कॉल ऑफ।
On the other hand, 3 heavily armed militants managed to escape to a forest area of Jhajjar Kotli on the Jammu-Srinagar highway after the police intercepted a Kashmir-bound truck. Sources said that the interception of the armed militants led to a possible terror attack being averted in Jammu city.
We have 5 injuries. One DYSP has got an injury on his buttock, so he's been shifted. Doesn't look nobody looks seriously injured, but we are giving medical aid. Operation is continuing.
Indian security forces also carried out 2 separate encounters in Sopore and Kakriyal area of the state that resulted in death of 3 terrorists. Senior Superintendent of Jammu and Kashmir Police, Sopore District, Javed Iqbal said, according to preliminary investigation, the 2 slain terrorists belonged to Pakistan-based militant outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed and were foreigners. According to the police, they, along with the Indian Army and paramilitary forces, launched a search and cordon operation after receiving specific inputs.
इसमें 2 मिलिटेंट्स की डेड बॉडी जो रिकवर हुई है, दोनों का ताल्लुक जो प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन के तहत जैश-ए-मोहम्मद से लगता है, और दोनों एज पर प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन दोनों जो है एफटीज लग रहे हैं सर।
Both India and Pakistan, which became independent almost at the same time, saw the countries going into separate directions, with New Delhi managing to climb the ladder of development, while Islamabad becoming a bankrupt state, now leaving on the mercy of China. Since India's development had always caused envy to Pakistan, they continue to create disturbance in Kashmir, India's only Muslim majority state since 1989.
Pakistan, known as a breeding ground for terrorists, has once again lived up to its name when its top court allowed the Hafiz Saeed-led Jamaat-ud-Dawa to do charity work. Newsweek South Asia takes a look.
The Supreme Court of Pakistan has allowed 26/11 Mumbai terror attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed's Jamaat-ud-Dawa, or the JUD, and its so-called humanitarian arm Falahi Insaniyat Foundation, or FIF, to continue their relief and charity operations in the country. The verdict was issued by a 2-member bench, which includes Justice Manzoor Ahmed and Justice Sardar Tariq Masood. The apex court in its verdict rejected the federal government's appeal against the Lahore High Court's interim order of April 5th. The High Court had restrained the government from interfering with social welfare organizations of Saeed and also allowed legal activities of JUD and FIF.
The way the things have been fanning out, we all have been thinking about that at least the judicial system within the Pakistan is a very strong one, because they have taken a lot of strong steps to in a way hold Pakistani governments as well as their people and work for their prosperity. But unfortunately, the judgment that came few days back, where it has been said that the charity organization being run by Hafiz Saeed is a proper one and it can continue its operation, which actually Pakistani government had banned. So it's really a tragedy sort of a thing, because Hafiz Saeed, who's an internationally acclaimed terrorist, and who is a sympathizer of militant organizations and who has been promoting them, and his charity organization somehow has been supporting all these things, getting funding for these militant organizations and working for their development. That's a very negative aspect, and this in a way gives a free leeway to his charity organization to get more funds and channelize more funds towards militant activities, which is going to have a very serious repercussions within the Indian subcontinent.
It is a known fact that the JUD and the FIF, underneath the cover of charity, train terrorists who carry out attacks on neighbors, India and Afghanistan. Earlier in an eyewash process, the Pakistan government had banned companies and individuals from making donations to JUD, FIF and other organizations on the UN Security Council sanctions list. The UNSC sanctions list includes the names of terror organizations such as Al-Qaeda, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, JUD, FIF, Lashkar-e-Toiba and other organizations and individuals.
Pakistani governments also have had in a way a double role. Somewhere they try to corner the militant organizations by trying to close down their funding, but then they give them a second opportunity through which they are trying to help them in their political motives, and they are trying to help them grow in their political motives. So Pakistani governments have also, successive governments have also been double playing the game. So through one hand they try to squeeze out these militant organizations, but through other hand they try to give them a leeway. Same has been with the Hafiz Saeed's charity organization as well as his political outfits.
The judgment is a proof to the fact that, like the Pakistan government, its army and intelligence agency, which is the ISI, the judiciary is also backing radical terror organizations, which does make Pakistan a safe haven for terror outfits. Terrorists are funded and supported by the legislative, executive and judiciary of Pakistan, for which more terror groups are coming to the forefront every day. Hafiz Mohammad Saeed, the mastermind of the Mumbai terror attack in 2008, which killed 166 people and injuring 308 others, continues to be a free man and also someone who contested the recently concluded Pakistan general elections in July this year.
International community has been talking about it, India has been talking about it at various forums. It is being discussed, and a lot of proof has been presented which talks about the fact, or which speaks volumes about the fact that how Pakistan or the Pakistani soil is being used for supporting militant organizations. In fact, Pakistan is branded as a safe haven for militant organizations or terrorist organizations. Why such a thing? If Pakistani government is not involved, if Pakistani army is not involved, then why don't they take positive steps? Why don't they take such strong steps which in a way stop these militant organizations from growing, these terrorist organizations from growing, and they stop them?
Saeed was designated as a terrorist by the United States back in 2012 and has a bounty of $10 million on his head. On the other hand, his organization, the Lashkar-e-Toiba, was declared a terror outfit back in 2014. The fact that such people still roam freely in Pakistan actually shows how much the Pakistan administration is keen on countering terror.
On the 17th anniversary of what can be called one of the dreadful days of mankind, the people of New York and the world gathered to remember the victims of 9/11 terror attack, which was carried out by the Al-Qaeda and was masterminded by Osama bin Laden, who was almost for 10 years was found safely living in a house on Pakistani soil. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
September 11th or 9/11. The day which is considered as the most shocking and the deadliest terror strike on mankind saw its 17th anniversary recently. The 9/11 terror attacks killed 2,996 people and injured over 6,000 when 3 passenger flights, which were hijacked, were made to crash into the iconic New York Twin Towers of the World Trade Center and the Pentagon located in Washington. Another flight, United 93, crashed in Shanksville in Pennsylvania after the passengers fought the terrorists on board. It is believed that the flight was to be crashed into the White House. US President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence remembered the ones who lost their lives on that fateful day. Speaking to the families of the 9/11 victims in Pennsylvania, where hijacked Flight 93 crashed into an open field, Trump thanked the relatives for their sacrifice in a patriotic speech.
Each time we hear those chimes playing in the wind, we will remember the 40. We will remember their faces, their voices, their stories, their courage, and their love. And we will remember that free people are never at the mercy of evil, because our destiny is always in our hands. America's future is not written by our enemies. America's future is written by our heroes.
And here, on the banks of the Potomac, we meet again, in this place, where the names of our beloved fallen are recited, where they're carved into steel and granite benches across these hallowed grounds, and will be remembered forever in the hearts of the American people. Dr. Paul W.
The people of the United States gathered to remember the civilians and the men in uniform who lost their lives in the terror attack in different parts of the country. Speaking at one such event, the Texas Congressman Pete Olson drew a parallel between the terror attack on New York and the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack in 2008. Although Olson faced backlash for saying that terrorists who carried out the 9/11 attacks were from Pakistan, he came out with his own defense. He said, "It was clear in the full context of my conversation that I was relating the terror attacks on 9/11 in America to the terror attacks our Indian friends suffered at the hands of the terrorists trained to kill in Pakistan. Both events were horrific, pivotal moments in our shared democracies. Taking one sentence where I accidentally transferred the dates in India to the events in America out of context does not change the fact that radical Islamic terrorists were successful in attacking both of our nations. But what needs to be seen is the fact that the main perpetrator of the attack, Osama bin Laden, who suddenly disappeared after the terror attack and also after being declared the most wanted man on earth, was eventually found at a mansion in Pakistan's Abbottabad city, which had Pakistan Military Academy and Air Force Base just few miles away from the area. Bin Laden was tracked by the identification of his courier, which the CIA had been tracking since 2005 and eventually led to the operation on the night of 2nd May 2011. Pakistan was totally exposed and faced intense international scrutiny following the operation.
Mr. Donald Trump has become the president of USA. He's been putting more pressure because the strategists before this used to think that possibly Pakistan will improve. You keep on helping them. At one point of time, they'll stop helping terrorists. This never happened. So now Donald Trump has stopped all the military aid to Pakistan. It has stopped all the financial aid to Pakistan, and a tremendous amount of pressure has been put on Pakistan to stop aiding terrorism.
The Pakistan government, which had earlier denied knowing the whereabouts of the terrorist mastermind to the CIA in 2009, numerous allegations that the government of Pakistan had shielded bin Laden arose. The question became too tough for the Pakistan government to answer. Other critics cited the proximity of bin Laden's highly fortified compound to Pakistan Military Academy, that the US chose not to notify the Pakistan authorities, and also the double standards shown by Pakistan in dealing with the perpetrators of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks.
Pakistan is concerned, it has absolutely not changed its policy. It tried to make the fool of the world when global war on terrorism was started by the USA to take action against Taliban and Al-Qaeda and terrorists. Pakistan made a fool of them, and the USA gave them lot of aid because they thought that to tackle terrorists on the borders of Pakistan as well as tackling them inside Afghanistan, you required Pakistan. So a lot of military aid was given. This military aid was misused completely, and absolutely no help was given. If anybody was ever killed, it was low-level terrorists who were killed in the attack.
Even 7 years after the raid, Pakistan continues its double standards when it comes to the handling of number of terror organizations coming out of its soil. The present Prime Minister Imran Khan, who has also been tagged Taliban Khan for showing his immense love and support to the terror organization. Apart from that, the Pakistan Army and their intelligence agency, the ISI, continue to provide shelter, resources and training and weapons to terror organizations which are present in Pakistan. Other than that, the differentiation of good terrorists and bad terrorists by Pakistan state has also led to the country getting its aid cut by the US and getting grey-listed by the FATF. Today, Pakistan is on the brink of being declared as a terror state. Be it the Taliban, Islamic State, Haqqani Network or the Lashkar-e-Toiba, these dreaded terror outfits have sanctuaries inside Pakistani territory and continue to enjoy safe haven in a state-sponsored welcoming environment.
A series of terrorist attacks have rocked Afghanistan in the capital city of Kabul and the eastern city of Jalalabad, which has had its own share of terrorist attacks in the recent past. With the much-awaited elections just around the corner, the Ashraf Ghani-led Afghanistan government and the NATO forces have got a lot on their plate to ensure before the scheduled date of elections.
Another day and more bomb blasts and grim news came from Afghanistan as a suicide bomber detonated bombs in the eastern city of Jalalabad that killed 68 people and wounded over 160 at a demonstration that was being witnessed in the city. The Nangarhar Health Department confirmed the toll. According to the officials, the attack in Nangarhar province targeted a gathering to protest against a police commander, adding that hundreds of people were present when the blast happened. The blast managed to disperse the crowd, but the survivors still continued the protests. Soon hospital beds fell short of the treatment for the victims who were arriving at different hospitals in the back of pickup trucks and ambulances. The attack on Nangarhar is being considered to be the deadliest attack since an ambulance packed with explosives detonated in Kabul in the month of January, which killed 100 people. Violence across the country has intensified in the recent weeks as the Taliban makes gains on the battlefield and IS launches deadly urban attacks.
نو چاودنه وړي لغړه چاودنه و تقریبا داسې سل یو نیم سل کسه پورې به زخمیان او مړه شوي پکې لکه چې موږ خپله باندې یو ملګری و پکې دغه امبولانس خپله ومو سره پکې راچولل دی خو دا پته نه لګېږي نو ډېر کسان دي اوس دا معلومات موږ ته نشته څومره مړه دي څومره زخمیان دي.
Nangarhar is also known as the home of ISIS Khorasan, the organization which has lost its leader Abu Saad Arabi in the month of August this year. Since no terror group has claimed responsibility for the attacks, the ISIS Khorasan is the main suspect according to many specialists. The organization is known for having militant recruits from Pakistan and is known for brainwashing other youngsters to join the group by radicalizing them on the grounds of religion, and thereby attacks on minority Shiite Muslims have increased in the province. The fact that Nangarhar lies close to the Pakistan border makes it easier for the ISIS Khorasan terrorists to cross the border and set up camps in Afghanistan. On the other hand, speaking at an event in Mumbai, Afghanistan Chief Executive Abdullah condemned the attack and said that militancy cannot delay but not stop the war-torn nation from turning into a prosperous nation.
The main thing is the Afghan people support their national defense and security forces, which is important, the support from the people, and we should improve the cooperation between those forces and the people and vice versa. That's important and that's critical. There are factors like the sanctuaries for these groups outside Afghanistan, which we have to deal with it, and which we are working with the neighboring countries, as well as through international partners with those countries which can help in that regard. This is the outside factor. And within the country, of course, improving intelligence and in alertness amongst our institutions, it's important.
Earlier this week, in the capital city of Kabul, a suicide bomber detonated explosives close to a procession, which was commemorating the death of former Soviet Mujahideen commander Ahmad Shah Massoud. According to eyewitnesses, the bomber, who was riding a bike, approached the crowd and blew himself up as he approached the sea of people. This incident comes just hours after another suicide bomber was shot dead by the Kabul police before he could detonate his explosives. This latest incident of terror attack came just days after 20 people lost their lives when a suicide bomber at a wrestling club blew himself up.
یا غرام شد ساعتای 3 بجه بود دیگه ما نفهمیدم که سعی کردیم که جوالم 4 تا هر طرف افتاده بودن.
These terror outfits, which have been causing mayhem in the state of Afghanistan, have strong connections with neighboring Pakistan. Pakistan has been accused by the Afghan authorities for being the state which provides resources, training and weapons to carry out attacks to destabilize Afghanistan. With elections scheduled for next month, the Afghan authorities and the deployed NATO forces are taking strict vigil on the activities which are being planned by the Pakistan-backed terror outfits who cross over the Durand line to create disturbances in the country. The parliamentary elections in Afghanistan are scheduled for October 20 this year.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We will be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@ani.in.com. This is Surbhi Sharma signing off on the behalf of entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.